What a goddamn nerd. Holy shit. This guy was definitely watching the Feminist Owns compilations. Yeah. All right. Let's continue. Let's continue with this broad sweeping coverage here.
Weapon used in the murder. They also recovered clothing, including a mask consistent with those worn by our wanted individual. Also recovered was a fraudulent New Jersey ID, matching the ID our suspect used to check into his New York City hostel before the shooting incident. Additionally, officers recovered a handwritten document that speaks to both his motivation and mindset. NYPD detectives are en route to Pennsylvania as we seek to interview the subject further. This apprehension is thanks to the tireless work of the greatest detectives in the world, and of course, the strong relationships we have with our local law enforcement partners. On every level, local, state, and federal, we all serve the same public safety mission. And this case, which captured the attention of an entire nation, is another example of how connected we are and how important it is to work together, share information, and pursue every lead.
I think the best part is that the guy was far from a recluse, yet not a single soul who knew him came forward to the authorities. Apparently, they probably recognized him immediately and were just like, I ain't giving up shit. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. Straight up. Hey, do your job, okay? If you want to find him that bad, maybe figure it out, okay? But I'm not helping you.
For just over 5 days, our NYPD investigators combed through thousands of...
Yeah, the attention that the nation gave to this story is not the type of attention that she thinks is good, I will say. I don't think it was a positive... They had a positive association with him, not the victim.
Of hours of video, followed up on hundreds of tips, and processed every bit of forensic evidence, DNA, fingerprints, IP addresses, and so much more to tighten the net. We deployed drones, canine units, and scuba divers. We leveraged the domain awareness system, Argus cameras.
I love this like back patting that like all of these institutions always do after like some random fucking McDonald's employees. Like, I recognize those eyebrows. He's being kind of sus. Like, it literally is always like, we did so much. Yeah, it amounted to nothing. Like, you did so much with your domain awareness system, and the only thing, the thing that got him caught was the fact that he didn't follow BDS. He should not have gone to the McDonald's in what is it, Toontown, Looney Tunes Town, whatever, fucking Pennsylvania. Okay, someone was like, I recognize those eyebrows. This guy's being kind of sus. I don't know what's happening there. Yeah, they were searching in Atlanta. Italiophobia got him arrested. The guy saw his eyebrows and were like, those are too powerful.
And conducted aviation canvasses. And our detectives also went door to door, interviewing potential witnesses and doing the good old-fashioned police work that our investigators are famous for. This combination of old school detective work and new age technology is what led to this result today. And we must also acknowledge the instrumental role the media and the public played in this case. The images that we shared with the public were spread far and wide, and the tips we received led to the recovery of crucial evidence. We should never underestimate the power of the public to be our eyes and our ears in these investigations. This is the third time in 3 weeks that a member of the public has seen something and said something and done something that led to a high-profile arrest. The triple stabbing homicide in Manhattan, the gunpoint robberies in Queens during which an NYPD officer was shot, and now this. Now, the case will continue through the criminal justice process. And while we are proud of today's accomplishment, we must, of course, remember that a family is in mourning. I want to again extend my sympathies to Brian's family, his co-workers, and all who knew him. Finally, I want to thank the women and men of the NYPD, especially our Detective Bureau personnel, with a strong assist from our intelligence analysts. We also thank the SAC of the FBI's Criminal Investigative Division, Leslie Rodriguez-Bekshies. And I want to commend the staff of the Manhattan DA's office, and especially DA Alvin Bragg. He has been working with us 24/7 on this case, and I am incredibly grateful for his partnership. I'll now pass it along to our great Chief of Detectives, Joe Kenny, who will provide additional information. Chief.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good afternoon. As the Commissioner stated earlier, a male was taken into
I think it's pretty funny what they're like, the NYPD was working tirelessly around the clock. Meanwhile, this is what the NYPD actually was doing, okay? Look, hold on. Dude. They're like, this is taking time, sweet time away from my valuable Candy Crush time. It's really fucked up. Making me go on a little walk, dude. You know? Look at this pic of them diving in a Central Park pond. Random guy in a rural Pennsylvania sees suspect in a public restaurant, calls the cops. NYPD diver comes out of Central Park pond 275 miles away and solemnly removes his snorkel. We did it, boys. Yeah. Tax dollars hard at work, baby. It's just like, it's so fucking ridiculous. But of course, you know, don't let these guys, don't let the truth stop you from, creating this narrative that we did a fantastic job and we deserve $700 billion, please.
custody today in Altoona, Pennsylvania this morning. He has been identified as Luigi Nicholas Mangione. He's a male, 26 years old. He was born and raised in Maryland. We know he has ties to San Francisco, California, and his last known address was Honolulu, Hawaii. He has no prior arrest history in New York. Members of the NYPD Detective Bureau are currently traveling to Pennsylvania with members of the Manhattan District Attorney's Office to interview this subject. This case was brought to a successful conclusion based on the coordinated effort between numerous NYPD units, including the intelligence and counterterrorism.
Yeah. Felix says, wow, I can't believe the shooter was an attractive and courageous buffoon with beliefs that were all over the place. Not, what is this, your first day in America? Yeah, I mean, it is the most expected thing. Listen, once I saw in my lifetime an actual trans person do a school shooting, I was like, oh, this is like an introduction to being an American, okay? Like, that's it. Dude, America is the land of mass shootings and gun violence, okay? This is the number one thing that we do, all right? And people have no consistent, clearly defined political. What he posted off screen first? Wait, what? No, there's no way this is actual. If you see this, I'm already under arrest. Luigi Mangione? Okay, dude. No, this is a meme, isn't it? This is a fucking meme, I suspect. Yeah. I don't think this is a real I don't think this is a real account, dude. Let's look at the activity of it first. Wait, what the fuck? Joined January 20th, 2024. One video, 198 subscribers. Yeah, this is like nothing on it. No, this is yeah, he's posted up with a fucking with Starbucks on the image too. I mean, not Starbucks, McDonald's on the image. No shot. Sorry to all the leftists writing reader shooter fanfics where he's super woke. No, it doesn't matter. This is something that I was trying to explain. The reception of the broad reception of this otherwise violent act, okay, did not have to be directed by someone who is a card-carrying communist or some shit like that. Okay? It doesn't matter. What matters is that this issue is uniparty. People from all different backgrounds. People from, different age groups. The Debras and the Barbers on Facebook were celebrating this action. Ben Shapiro's viewers in the comment section were celebrating this action. Because the reality of the matter is, it doesn't matter. Unless you are literally one of the richest motherfuckers out there, you are never going to be sheltered from the lecherous nature of healthcare profiteers. It's impossible. It's virtually impossible not to be impacted in a negative fashion by the for-profit healthcare insurance industry in this country. Okay? That's why it doesn't matter what his like political background is. Okay?
Bureau, our federal partners at the FBI, the Manhattan District Attorney's Office, and of course, members of the Altoona Police Department in Pennsylvania. On Thursday, one day after this crime was committed, the NYPD released a photo of the shooter in this case. This picture was obtained by the NYPD during one of their extensive video canvasses. We took that photograph and we asked for the public's help in identifying this subject, and the public responded. Hundreds of tips began to pour into our hotline. Each tip was investigated thoroughly, and we began to release additional photographs as they came into our possession.
Yeah, here, look.
The NYPD provided these photos to numerous...
Yeah, the NYPD, we did such a good fucking job. Yeah, by the way, the CEO shooter cousin is Nino Mangione, super conservative Republican member of the Maryland House of Delegates. Here's a photo from Nino's campaign website. Luigi appears to be in the back left with a checkered shirt. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Boop. Computer, enhance. Ridiculous accent. He's faking it. I agree. Italians finally getting someone better to celebrate than Christopher Columbus. Yeah, apparently he had like a 2-page manifesto as well, which we'll cover in a second. What we know about the suspect arrested in the killing of the CEO of United Healthcare, a 26-year-old Ivy League graduate from Maryland, was arrested at McDonald's in the killing of Brian Thompson. The suspect is Luigi Mangione. Thompson's murder of a Midtown Manhattan street in broad daylight shocked many Americans, but also sparked a torrent of outrage aimed at the U.S. profit-driven healthcare industry. This is something that I think people need to examine and need to understand. This doesn't happen in America, where someone very clearly in broad daylight does a crime, and that Americans that are normally so geared towards punishing every criminal, no matter what their motivation is, no matter what that criminal did, turn around and go, hold on, let's take a step back and let's really think about who the villain and who the victim is, okay? That's it. That is truly unique. Americans love law and order. They are positively Hitlerian when it comes to that sort of shit. And this was the one instance where I was like, damn, everyone, regardless of their political allegiances, regardless of their age, regardless of their culture, have been so very clearly fucked over by healthcare by for-profit healthcare companies that they just literally champion this guy's a hero. Okay?
Numerous media outlets, local, national, and international outlets released the photo via television, print, social media, and online content. Luckily, a citizen in Pennsylvania recognized our subject and called local law enforcement. Members of the Altoona Police Department responded to the call, and based on their investigation, they notified the NYPD. This investigation is still active and ongoing. Thank you very much.
Shooting first, and then we'll. Mark?
I had a couple questions about the document that he was found in possession with. Can you go a little bit more in depth about those motivations that you mentioned? Was that CEO specifically named in that document? Was there anything more about him wanting to go after others? And also in that document, was there any indication that explains us how the level of detail that he went into killing him? Like, is there anything?
Like I said, that document is currently in the possession of the Altoona Police Department as part of their investigation. But just from briefly speaking with them, we don't think that there's any specific threats to other people mentioned in that document. But it does seem that he has some ill will toward corporate America.
Over here, sir.
MJ?
Chief, was the suspect wearing a mask at the time he was spotted in the McDonald's? And also, criminal cases often have a linchpin. Can you point to a single linchpin that helped crack this case?
There's numerous linchpins in this case, in the fact that we've recovered an enormous amount of forensic evidence, an enormous amount of video, and once again, with your help and the public's help. So I really couldn't put it on one thing, but if I had to, it would be the release of that photograph from the media.
What you said he had a passport on him. Do you believe he was trying to flee the country? And also, are you still looking for any evidence in Central Park in regards to the bike?
We had divers in the water yesterday that came up negative results. The passport, we don't believe that he was planning on doing any traveling at this time. We don't think at this point in our investigation, we don't think he was trying to flee the country.
The person at the McDonald's, were they buying food? What were they doing at that exact moment?
He was an employee at the McDonald's.
Right. But what was the suspect doing?
He was sitting there eating.
Will the suspect be brought back to New York and charged here, and when?
We're going to have to work that out with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office in Altoona, Pennsylvania. He's going to be facing gun charges there, and at some point we'll work out through extradition to bring him back to New York to face charges here, working with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office.
Hi, Anita from the New York Post. I was just hoping to get more details on the capture itself. Did he put up a fight? Did he say anything to cops? And we've also reported that he published online anti-health care industry rantings. Can you share with us some of the services that he posted on?
We're still working through his social media. We're going to do a complete scrub of that. Preliminarily, like I said, he seems that he has some ill will toward corporate America, but that will all come out as part of our investigation. We're not done here. We're still going to be putting this together. We're still going to be working very hard to bring this to a successful conclusion.
And the capture itself, did he put up a fight? Did he say anything to police?
I don't have that information.
Oh, sorry. Can you elaborate on how he got there, the path he took from Port Authority and on the George Washington Bridge to Altoona, PA?
Same thing. This just happened this morning. We'll be backtracking his steps from New York to Altoona, Pennsylvania.
I was going to ask if we knew anything, if he took a bus to Philadelphia first and then somehow got to Altoona. But
We're still working on that. We're still working through that.
Is there any indication that
The
anybody
McDonald's
else
employee
was
that
helping him
snitched.
from the inside, as far as tracking the CEO's movements?
Once again,
Classic. I knew it. Maybe that was the McDonald's that Trump went to a PA McDonald's too, bro. I knew it. Fuck that guy. You know what? I'm going to fucking QRT that. That's a banger tweet right there. Thanks for the fucking hat. Thanks for the hat tip. Okay, hold on. Is that the right term? Hat tip? Is it hat trick? No, hat tip, right? I don't know. I've identified the alley-oop. Hat trick means you scored? Yeah, I mean, the assist. Why didn't bro dye his hair or shave his head? Dude, I don't fucking know, man. Why was he running around with the gun? I know what hat trick is. You claim to be a socialist and yet you extract surplus labor. Funny jokes from chat. How do you sleep at night? I know. That's going to be the next big thing. That's going to be my next big cancellation. Hasanabi steals from his hard-working, his working class fans. He steals his jokes. He steals his memes. It's unacceptable. Anyway. All right, let's finish this off.
We're still working this investigation very hard. It's not at its conclusion yet. That could come out during our investigation, but as of right now, we have no indication that that took place.
Chief, did he have any weapons or anything like that with him when he was arrested?
He was in possession of a ghost gun that had the capability of firing a 9mm round and a suppressor.
Oh, it was a ghost gun. Oh, he made it. Oh, he's such a fucking nerd, dude. Jesus Christ, this guy is such a stem cell. It's crazy.
Get into a little bit about the technical aspects of the investigation. I know you deployed an unprecedented amount of technology. You also
hat tip is correct, by the way. It is homage. Like you say hat tip to be like, I got it, like a layup, an alley oop. So I wasn't wrong for using that term.
activated the Sentry program through Intel. Can you talk about how that is going to play into actually building the case as far as cell phone and all of the other technical aspects of what you've done?
In this case, it really came down to technology was the use of drones in Central Park, and really comes down to the video canvas that we did. We used every source of video that we could collect, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours from hundreds of sources, and that helped bring this to where we are right now.
The gun is it believed to be the gun he used in the shooting? And there was some talk that it was a veterinarian type gun. Is that accurate?
No, as of right now, the information we're getting from Altoona is that the gun appears to be a ghost gun, may have been made on a 3D printer. The capability of firing a 9mm round, obviously that will come out during our ballistics testing.
Oliver?
Yeah, Oliver Barnes from the Financial Times. Do you have any indication like how long this handwritten, is it a handwritten manifesto that you found on the suspect? And then also...
So Republican shooters are 1 for 3 this year, shaking my head. Yes. They are 1 for 3. Friend activity, Luigi Mangione, B2B featuring Tinashe, Charlie XCX. Brat, and it's completely different. Oh man, he was all over the Brat Summer vibes, it seems. He was blasting Brat Summer. It's kind of funny because like this is, as someone also pointed out in the chat, like this is not the normal profile of this like, you know, weirdo shut-in that wants to make a name for themselves by like doing an either high profile assassination or just like the regular thing that Americans normally do, which is like fucking shoot up a school, right? Like this is very clearly a motivated individual. Like there is a harm that was done to him, it seems, that Americans immediately recognized as well. And he took direct action. And so it is like it's a he doesn't fit like the profile of the normal shut-in guy experiencing like, you know, a mental health care episode or some shit like that, which is why there are there are going to be in the upcoming days so many people that come forward to be like, I know him. I grew up with him. I went on a date with him. He's a really chill guy. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of his like indecipherable politics, I think many of you, especially in this community, don't understand that like the average American has, what do I always say? The median voter has political opinions that are inherently contradictory to one another. Okay. That's why so many people, even on like the QAnon side, will be like, I hate for-profit insurance. And that's why I'm voting for the Republican Party to deregulate healthcare. It's like, that doesn't make any sense. But that's American politics. You know? That's how it is. Mangione YouTube channel, a video posted an hour ago, is his real account? I don't know if it is. His Twitter had people looking for him, indicating he might have gone off the deep end mentally. Yeah. I hate the concept of ghost guns, but it makes this story much cooler. The whole thing is like a big cyberpunk vibes. No, it actually turns this into a Shinzo Abe doohickey situation, but except because in the United States of America, you can just like make your own gun. You know, he ended up having a ghost gun rather than a Shinzo Abe doohickey. You know what I mean? In America, you don't have to make a doohickey. You could just make a gun, like a real straight up gun.
Whether or not he put it online at all?
Don't know if it's online. As of right now, it's a handwritten 3-page document.
Chief, does he have ties to that area, and was he someone who you knew by name before his arrest?
We believe he may have attended college in Pennsylvania, but like I said earlier, he has ties to Maryland and California and Hawaii.
And you knew him by name before today. Was his name on your radar?
Excuse me?
Was his name on your radar? Was he someone who you had been looking into before his arrest?
No, we did not have his name prior to today.
Brent, okay. Does he have any prior arrests? I know there were none for New York City, but is there any prior arrests anywhere else in the country?
We have not come across any arrests in the country.
Chief, hi, how are you? On two things. On the ghost gun, is it something you're going to be looking into to see if he made it himself and can he make that himself, or would he have to buy the gun the way it was?
No, once again, that'll be part of our investigation as we follow up.
I mean, obviously he's going to face murder charges, but is there any chance that he could face any other charges because he was targeting the CEO and because of his writings and other things that we're now finding on him? Federal charges or
that determination will be made by Alvin Bragg.
I mean, listen, all I'm saying is my man had no prior charges, okay? No prior charges, no capacity to reoffend. It seems like this is a one and done, a real crime of passion, okay? What do you mean? Like, anti-CEO being considered a part of the hate crime statute is something that you would expect from America, honestly. Like, we should put CEOs in a protected class of their own. People of means, people of wealth, POWs, you know? This is anti-CEO action, and CEOs should be classified as a protected category, protected class. Rich people across the board should be classified as a protected category. I feel like we will inevitably get there if things get even more dramatic and things escalate even harder. I fear that we will inevitably get there. But before we get there, we'll probably make cops into a protected class of their own. There has been some Republican initiatives in the past that do that. So, you know, and it has been successful in certain places. The real POCs are no longer people of color, but it's people of class. And not the working class. People of capital. POC. People of capital.
Yes, what connections does he have in Pennsylvania that you know of? Are they in Altoona specifically?
We believe he attended college in Pennsylvania.
Does he know anybody in Pennsylvania?
Wouldn't be able to tell you that.
All right, we're going to
Shut the fuck up. Are you trying to get me banned from Twitch? Yes.
You talk about the manifesto having said things against corporations, but specifically United Healthcare, and do you believe that Mangione acted alone?
We believe at this point our investigation is leaning toward he was acting alone. So like I stated earlier, we're still working through the investigation. We're not stopping today. And as far as the manifesto, like I said, I don't have the complete details of that. It's in the possession of the Altoona Police Department.
We're gonna shift to opt-out.
Yep. Good job, Chief. Commissioner, Chief Manager.
Yeah, get back up there.
"26-year-old Luigi Mangione. A nationwide manhunt has been underway since Thompson was shot and killed outside a New York City hotel on Wednesday. Now police are saying they're questioning Mangione in Altoona, Pennsylvania, saying, among other things, he was carrying
New York City, the Altoona of America.
fake IDs, a written document, and a gun similar to the one used in the assassination-style killing. I want to bring in ABC senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky, covering the story for us from the very beginning.
Oh, shit. They found his valedictorian speech, bro.
Well set. Congratulations. Thank you.
Watch that manifesto end up being some Pulitzer Prize level critique of the American healthcare system. I doubt it. I don't think this guy is... I mean, he is definitely a big reader, but given his STEM background, I highly doubt it. And given his political associations, I fucking highly doubt that he is a great writer.
Headmaster Smythe, Mr. Hubeck, members of the Board of Trustees, family and students, good afternoon. Thank you all for being here to celebrate Gilman's 116th Founders Day. I'm honored to be asked how they would describe the class of 2016. Many of the students characterized our class as inventive, in both imagination and initiative. At the same time, several teachers reminded me of our class's commitment to Gilman and its traditions. I came to realize that both views are correct. The class of 2016 is truly defined by its inventive, pioneering mentality that accompanies a strong commitment to Gilman tradition.
Hasanabi has, there's someone who, oh my God, the CEO shooter is getting extradited from Altoona. This is State College, PA, with New York State cops and PA State Police. Okay, guys, don't get into trouble. Like, you know what I mean? Calm down. Scare me a little bit. You know, go home. All right?
Throughout its time here at Gilman, the class of 2016 has been coming up with new ideas.
And he's being framed. I was chilling with him on Wednesday. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think this man is innocent. Okay, it seems like he's innocent. I think he's the fall guy. They found a handsome man. They found a handsome man with bushy eyebrows, and they were like, "This is the guy who did it."
Challenging the world around it. Our selling of Chick-fil-A during lunch, arguably the staple of our class.
Wait, what? Can't be class of 26 is too young? Wait, what? No, he had a master's. Oh, you found the video.
Provides a great example. In our sophomore year, when brainstorming ways to fundraise, we didn't just settle for the usual methods of selling spirit shirts and Christmas trees. In addition to this, we did what seemed impossible given the...
Yeah, he's 2016. He's 26 years old now. This is him delivering his valedictorian speech in 2016, which tracks with his age.
Scheduled the school day and began shuttling dozens of Chick-fil-A sandwiches to Gilman.
This is his high school graduation, chat.
Soon, we were selling over 100 Chick-fil-A sandwiches each day, in what became likely one of the most successful class fundraisers in Gilman's history. But our ability to come up with new ideas didn't start then. I've noticed it as long as I've been here, even in my very first year as a sixth grader. If any of you have ever been on Gilman's campus before school starts, you would have noticed that every morning, rain or shine, the turf is filled with middle school students playing soccer.
Oh my God, it's so boring. Okay, all right, I'm not gonna watch this. I'm not gonna watch this whole speech. All right, let's get back to some more interesting stuff. Okay. No, he is not a fucking incel. This doesn't mean that he's an incel chatter. Luigi Mangione, hot damn, are you single? You make us engineers have hope, says Pen Crushes. May 1st, 2019. He says, despite all my best efforts, yup, still single. Okay. And I don't think that is I don't think that that's indicative that he was an incel. Luigi fixed 300 UI bugs for Civilization 6, by the way. He was a UI programming intern at Firaxis Games. Civ 6 team fixed over 300 UI bugs, 25% of UI bug count using LUA language, Jira software, and Perforce version control system. Work with a 10-person Scrum team in agile environment. This is from his LinkedIn. This man just keeps getting better and better. He should be freed, I think. A real hero for all the Sid Meier Civilization heads out there. Okay? Remember who the true heroes of society are. Okay? Remember that. What was the Malcolm X quote? Newspapers will have you thinking that your friends are your enemies. If you're not careful, the newspapers will have you hating the people who are being oppressed and loving the people who are doing the oppressing. You know? Just something to remember. Okay? We need a GoFundMe for his defense. Oh, dude, he will he will pop off. If Biden really wanted to get spicy, he would pardon this guy. Unfortunately, he is not. I don't think that the jurisdiction here is federal. I think that the jurisdiction here is going to be a New York State court. So there is no, there's nothing that Joe Biden can do. If he was boycotting McDonald's, he wouldn't have gotten caught. Remember this? Hey, okay, Sean. The real person who can save him is Kathy Hochul. And Kathy Hochul already, Lolo is representing him. This is not a drill. My trial director from Suffolk County. Let's do it, Luigi. 25 plus year experience between both of us, Luigi. Want to defend this guy with me? Wait, for real? If Lolo is able to represent him, this would be the most amazing. This would be incredible. He could do it. He has the experience. He has it. He needs Jayoma. Jayoma does not represent people in New York. I will go in person. What a fucking timeline. I am so on board with Lull overruled. I'm so on board with my lawyer representing this man. This would be fantastic. Look at his lawyer, dog. This man is going to jail. Why have we had not one but two weird centrist assassins this year? Because that's just America. Okay? The very fact that his politics are all over the place is the most American thing. Okay? Anyway, CNN reports that a two-page document from Luigi Mangione was found, including the lines, which includes the lines, these parasites had it coming. I do apologize for any strife and trauma, but it had to be done. 56,000 likes from Pop Base. Okay? Now, all I'm going to say is this manifesto, if it comes out in its entirety, it will rip through. Okay? Also, it seems like he's apologetic, which is very important, especially at a time when no one really sees the need to apologize anymore. You know? I mean, that shows growth. That shows courage. That shows awareness. Release him. Your streams have prepared Lolo for this exact situation. He would literally have to defend a murder. I mean, Lolo could defend a murder, and I think he would do a great job at it. Manifesto releases December 11th. No, I don't believe that. That YouTube account I don't trust, chatters. I don't trust that YouTube account at all.
John, you have some new details about specific lines that you can quote from this 2-page handwritten document that was found on Luigi Mangioni's person. What was he writing about?
Well, he was railing against the healthcare industry, which of course fits into the scenario here. He talks about how these parasites had it coming. He starts off basically saying, I don't want to cause any trauma, but it had to be done. So a second page really kind of goes into problems with the health industry. He raises the question, you know, why do we have the most expensive healthcare in the world, but we're 42, rated 42 in life expectancy around the world? I can't vet his facts or findings there, but it was talking about the healthcare industry and the need for violence. I mean, especially when you talk about, you know, the opening, which is that it had to be done. These parasites, you know, had it coming. That does kind of fit in what they're talking about. What do we know about this individual? Mr. Mangioni is an engineer. He grew up in Towson, Maryland. He's 26 years old. He graduated UPenn in 2020 and then went on to a master's program where he got that master's degree in engineering. And he has addresses, as Shimon said, in Towson, where he grew up, in Philadelphia, where he went to school, in Honolulu, which we're still looking into. But he is strongly believed to be the suspect in this case.
It's Sandra's brain rot. This type of CEO is evil, but only this type, no others. Yeah, no, he like fucking enjoys Sam Altman and Peter Thiel, who are objectively just as evil as like the average fucking healthcare CEO is. Okay. And I like judging this profile of the shooter with the limited information that we have. It's obvious to me that like the pivotal moment in his life was his back surgery and all of the, you know, awful things that came after that. It seems like he fucking fell off the map, fell off the face of the earth for like 6 months, festering in his anger and resentment, and then did this deed, took matters into his own hands, right? But the reality of the matter is, it does not matter what his fucking ideological background is in this situation. It doesn't matter at all, because Americans of all different political allegiances understood instantly what was going on. They didn't need to know anything. They were like, oh, healthcare CEO killed? I know what that's about. And not only did they say, I know what that's about, before even learning a single fucking thing, nobody even thought maybe it's his wife that like, you know, called out this hit or anything like that. Everyone immediately was like, no, it's got to be healthcare related. And not only is it healthcare related, that they thought this is good, actually. That is the level of resentment that people have. And you have to understand that this is a pivotal moment for a lot of people. The propaganda of the deed, if you will. Because you don't have to be like, it's worse if this is like a card-carrying communist or some shit. You know what I mean? Because then you can just be like, oh, this is a violent ideology. Socialism is a violent ideology. Look at this. Like, this is a like, this is a moment where a person with indecipherable politics that's like kind of right-wing associated, loves the fucking podcast bro circuit, went in and shot a healthcare CEO because of the frustration and the anger that that he experienced. And almost every American that encountered the story understood what the fuck was going on. Okay? I said, it does not matter that the UHC CEO shooter has indecipherable politics. Americans of all different backgrounds immediately recognize the similar pain they've experienced and identified as motivations. This is still a story about profiteering in the healthcare system. Because that's what it is. So in the upcoming days when they say like, oh, he went crazy, like this is a crazy guy, it's like, yeah, someone who rips through the social fabric in this way and engages in an act of direct violence in this way, of course, does not have like full-blown mental clarity. But it still doesn't change the dynamic at all, and it certainly doesn't change the reception of the act. Because people with the mental clarity that weren't involved in this recognize the wrong and the harm that they have also experienced in their own personal lives. So I think that's something that that is, in my opinion, the most productive way of looking at this situation. Okay? The most productive way of analyzing the situation, in my opinion, is trying to look at the systemic harm that all Americans face and why they analyzed this person's actions in the way that they did and why they were so receptive and so broadly supportive. Guys, please stop sending me the fucking fake YouTube page. I don't think he timed a video saying stay tuned. I don't think that YouTube page is real. It's going to come out to be like some fucking cryptocurrency rug pull. And I don't know. It's not confirmed, okay? Please.
Incredibly interesting. And it also speaks to the fact that he just had Josh Campbell, you're with us now, so much on his person, according to police, from a suppressor to, they're saying it's the fake ID they believe that he used at the hostel, the New Jersey fake ID, when he was in New York, and then this manifesto talking about why he did this. I mean, that tells you a lot about his maybe expectation that ultimately this was all going to catch up with him, even as he tried to get away.
Yeah, you're spot on. And, you know, sometimes these major incidents that start with a bang end with a whimper. We didn't see a dramatic, police takedown. What we saw is someone eating at a McDonald's who then had the police called on him and apparently taken into custody without incident. And, it's so interesting. John and I have been covering this. There was this consensus in looking at that initial surveillance video from outside that hotel that police weren't dealing with Carlos the Jackal here. I mean, you look at everything from his stance in holding that gun to the type of gun itself, to the mistakes that he had made, apparently leaving behind a water bottle and a burner phone. And so this was a sophisticated job in the sense that it appeared to be planned and then executed, and then he was able to successfully flee and, escape arrest.
I'm not kidding when I say this. I think like you could just learn anything off of YouTube videos at this point, dude. Like, I feel like this dude utilized YouTube videos to figure out how he could do this hit. Like, he went on Reddit everyday carry to figure out what like the best possible backpack is to carry out an assassination. You know what I mean? I think what's truly shocking about this process is like how calm he was. Throughout the entire process. Like, I think that is interesting because that's something you can't really learn. You know what I mean? Like, he did it like he's done it a million times. He did it like like rechambering the gun over and over again and like calmly walking past the body to get on a fucking e-bike. Like he was on, I don't know if he's on like beta blockers or something, but he just seemingly had his mental fortitude in the moment. He locked in. Yes, he fucking locked in, chat. So let's take a look at Luigi Mangione, like the quote. America is the wealthiest nation on earth, but its people are mainly poor, and poor Americans are urged to hate themselves. To quote the American humorist Ken Hubbard, it ain't no disgrace to be poor, but it might as well be. It is in fact a crime for an American to be poor, even though America is a nation of poor. Every other nation has folk traditions of men who were poor but extremely wise and virtuous, and therefore more estimable than anyone with power and gold. No such tales are told by the American poor. He liked this Vonnegut quote. They mock themselves and glorify their betters. The meanest eating or drinking establishment owned by a man who is himself poor is very likely to have a sign on his wall asking this cruel question. If you're so smart, why ain't you rich? There will also be an American flag no larger than a child's hand, glued to a lollipop stick and flying from the cash register. Americans, like human beings everywhere, believe many things that are obviously untrue. Their most destructive untruth is that it is very easy for any American to make money. They will not acknowledge how, in fact, hard money is to come by. And therefore, those who have no money blame and blame and blame themselves. This inward blame has been a treasure for the rich and powerful, who have had to do less for their poor publicly and privately than any other ruling class since, say, Napoleonic times. Many novelties have come from America. The most startling of these, a thing without precedent, is a mass of undignified poor. They do not love one another because they do not love themselves. So he, on the one hand, he liked this quote, but on the other hand, he was like, I want to read fucking Atlas Shrugged. Okay. So who knows? But like I said, you do not need to understand what this you do not need to try and decipher this person's politics, especially because the people that have shown him support come from every different fucking political background. Okay? That's it. When I saw the Debras and the Barbaras on Facebook hitting that fucking laughing smile emoji reaction on the United Healthcare post talking about Brian Thompson's untimely demise, I was like, this is a pivotal moment. This is a moment where, like, no, Americans are openly very viscerally angry at healthcare in particular. They might not even necessarily recognize that the for-profit aspect of healthcare is the problem. Many Americans do not. Many Americans do not have class consciousness. Many Americans do not recognize the powers that control their lives and dominate their lives. Many of them might even appreciate it. Many of them might like it. Many of them are terrified of any sort of alternatives, an alternative vision for society. Having said that, however, they still know who fucked them over at the end of the day. They know that at least in terms of healthcare, they have a direct involvement with this. Okay? They have a direct involvement with the pain. Very visceral. It's very real. It's something that they've seen. It's something that has harmed their loved ones. Maybe they're elderly. Doors open. Maybe it's harmed their children. Maybe it's harmed themselves. And that's it. That's where you see where this anger and resentment is coming from. For someone like myself, I think the goal that I have in this moment is to try to reinstill class consciousness in many Americans and try to explain to them that there is a solution out of this. And it's not to engage in vigilante justice against like random fucking CEOs, but instead to have bold, radical, sweeping legislative changes. Okay? The problem, however, is that there is no mechanism there is no mechanism that will be interested in doing such a thing. Okay. The Democratic Party, unfortunately, is woefully incompetent and not tasked for even recognizing that these problems exist. The way you talk about American healthcare makes it seem like a collective trauma, at least to an outsider. I mean, it is, technically. Yeah. Holy shit, I just realized he got surgery right after turning 26. No, I wonder if his coverage lapsed. Like, so he didn't even have his parents' insurance potentially, because 26 is a pivotal age. Pre-Obamacare, that didn't even exist. But post-Obamacare, at least you could have like your parents' health care. Being in this like legal limbo. You know? Wait, what is this? Beloved murderer canceled after old tweets resurface. He's a young man in an online space dominated by right-wing views. As a result, it is expected that he would have gone down a libertarian right-wing path. However, despite probably doing everything he was told was necessary to make money, he continues to be poor and hurt by the rich. Yeah. Yeah, this dude could have been an absolutely abysmal bootlicking groiper, but no matter who you are, getting an absolutely horrific back injury and being saddled with chronic pain and medical debt will make anyone develop class consciousness, even if he doesn't have class consciousness, which I don't think he has. I saw a tweet the other day that was like, Americans will celebrate the murder of a healthcare CEO and then turn around and call ICE when their Uber Eats driver is like 5 minutes late. Okay? Like, you don't have to be a fucking card-carrying commie or anything like that. You don't have to be a socialist. You don't even have to have any sort of class consciousness whatsoever. You still do recognize that, like, healthcare, for-profit healthcare, even if you don't have the proper terms to communicate this anger and resentment, you still recognize who's fucking you over in that situation because it's so deeply personal. And it's very obvious that he, like, still comes from, a relatively well-off family in Maryland, too. An immediate cousin that is a Republican politician. He does not actually follow Connor Eats Pants, by the way. That's a meme, chatter. What's wrong with you? You guys get duped by anything. Holy shit. Like... Anyway, Shooter was a big Andrew Huberman and Lex Friedman enjoyer. Yeah. Here is his rating on industrial society and its future. Now, if you know anything about Theodore John Kaczynski's formative work, you know that it is also indecipherable, with the exception of like a lot of fascist anti-communist sentiment jumping out of the paper. Okay? Just so you understand, it's not like Ted Kaczynski was a prolific writer. It's mostly the ramblings of a madman. A lot of people only hyper focus on the first couple of sentences and basically operate off of that and think that this guy had like brilliant thoughts. Ultimately, he was a rabid anti-communist, a CIA lab rat whose brain was fucking fried, and I guess had some semblance of environmentalism. But here's how Luigi Mangione rated the book. He gave it 4 stars. Okay? Not exactly a great read overall. So the fact that he gave it 4 stars, immediate red flag. Let's take a look. It says, clearly written by a mathematics prodigy. Okay, that could be a diss. Oh, wait, this is not, he didn't write this? Saying this book was clearly written by a mathematics prodigy is like saying this man has a face for radio. Okay? No, he's quoting someone. Reads like a series of lemmas on the question of 21st century quality of life. It's easy to quickly and thoughtless write this off as the manifesto of a lunatic in order to avoid facing some of the uncomfortable problems it identifies. But it's simply impossible to ignore how prescient many of his predictions about modern society turned out. He was a violent individual, rightfully imprisoned, who maimed innocent people. While these actions tend to be characterized as those of a crazy Luddite, however, they are more accurately seen as those of an extreme political revolutionary. A take I found online that I think is interesting. Had the balls to recognize that peaceful protest has gotten us absolutely nowhere, and at the end of the day, he's probably right. Oil barons haven't listened to any environmentalists, but they feared him. When all other forms of communication fail, violence is necessary to survive. One thing I will say about Luigi Mangione is that unlike Theodore John Kaczynski, he actually did target someone who was a vector of pain, rather than random fucking, post-grads that got their shit blown off by his whimsical traps that he created, okay? Like, Ted Kaczynski was like, oh, I have this broad worldview, and what will I do to achieve my goals? I am going to blow the fingers off of Radio Shack employees. Like... Anyway. So, thank you for the 25 gifted. Bribo 236. Thank you for the 25 gifted. Okay. When all other forms of communication fail, violence is necessary to survive. You may not like his methods, but to see things from his perspective, it's not terrorism, it's war and revolution. Fossil fuel companies actively suppress anything that stands in their way, and within a generation or two, it will begin costing human lives by greater and greater magnitudes until the Earth is just a flaming ball orbiting third from the sun. Peaceful protest is outright ignored. Economic protest is impossible in the current system, so how long until we recognize that violence against those who lead us to such destruction is justified as self-defense? These companies don't care about you or your kids or your grandkids. They have zero qualms about burning down the planet for a buck. So why should we have any qualms about burning them down to survive? We're animals just like everything else on this planet, except we've forgotten the law of the jungle and bent over for our overlords when any other animal would recognize the threat and fight to the death for their survival. Violence never solved anything is a statement uttered by cowards and predators. So this is not his quote. This is a quote that he found interesting about industrial society and its future. And he did say some of these things in his own manifesto as well, talking about these parasites had it coming. Okay. But it had to be done. The law of the jungle quote is so tech bro sapiens reader coded. Yeah. I don't think that like anything. So glad I didn't hear Hassan is the reason why I got into socialism. Shout out from the guy. Yeah. I do not believe that he actually posted that timed YouTube video, for the record. Okay? I don't think so. But hey, FYI, I'm getting an error message trying to share your stream on Facebook. Never had that happen before, and I share it all the time. I know a lot of people here don't use Facebook, so in case no one else has mentioned it, I thought that it was a little odd. Yeah, I'm also blacklisted from Instagram as well, so I don't know. It might be my my meta chickens coming home to roost because of all of the pro-Palestinian statements that I've made. Why are leftists abandoning Luigi because of his politics? He's a hero. No, I am not saying any of that. I'm simply stating that
the place in America.
I don't care about his personal politics at all. I do think it's interesting to try. I do think it's interesting to try and decipher and try to understand his point of radicalization. Okay. But overall, it doesn't matter. I think it's the more interesting story is like his broad reception, his broad positive reception from the American public. You know? So yeah. He definitely didn't post it. The profile pic is used the same in the media. It's a random photo from his Facebook. Definitely has something he would reuse as a profile pic. Yeah, I know. I do find it really funny, I will say, that he follows the Lindy tradition, whatever his name is. There's does anyone have that tweet? That famous Lindy tweet? If you're a young guy with no future prospects, go ahead, do something. And the Paul Scholas tweet, yeah, the Lindy man. That famous Paul Scholas tweet, considering that Luigi Mangione actually followed him. Where is it? Yeah, I can't believe I'm typing this, but there's a non-zero chance that the CEO shooter did it because of a Paul Scholas tweet. Person of interest in fatal shooting. Brian Thompson ID'd is Luigi Mangione. Luigi Mangione's bookshelf. Want to read. Life in the Lindy Effect by Paul Scholas. Here's the tweet. Look, if you don't have any kids and you're one of these guys just floating around the big cities, you got your education, but you never really used it to make money. You got a dead-end back office job. A future of just working somewhere until you're 75 and then dying. Go ahead and do something. And it seems that his high school yearbook quote was Donkey, video game Donkey. That's kind of cool. Yeah, another day, another play by Donkey. Oh my God. Mom and Dad, thanks for dealing with me the past 18 years. I cannot thank you enough for supporting me along the way. I'll admit, no matter how much. Oh, dude. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Video game Donkey. At it again, folks. Big drama. It's Drama Monday. My enemy Donkey once again rears his head. Oh no. Entered in 6th grade, aka Pepperoni, GI, Squeeze, 30 degrees, involved in robotics, Model UN, of course, Uproar Studios, Writing Center, Senior Retreat, Community Service at Lorien Health. My Gilman experience was illuminating. Another day, another play. Mom and Dad, thanks for dealing with me the past 18 years. I cannot thank you enough for supporting me along the way. I'll admit, no matter how much I hated at the time, your sending me to Gilman was the best thing that's ever happened to me. Love you, Tommy. Thank you for showing me how to push my limits. I wouldn't be the person I am today without you. Baz says, I've enjoyed our many long talks and hope to continue them for years to come. Dan, these last 3 years from a presidential speech to your yearbook announcements to your daily assembly commentary, you turned a once unbearable assembly into the funniest part of the day. To the rest of my friends, you know who you are. These last few years have been simply amazing. Mr. Hastings says, thank you for always having faith in me, even when I didn't. I truly could not have asked for a better advisor. Special thanks, Dr. Salcedo, Dr. Kelly, Mr. Algren, Ludwig, Dr. Kraft, Dr. Mo, Dr. Fitzgibbon, Memories, MS Recess Soccer, Daddy Long, Flies, Thai Wars, CT, blah, 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 blah. Okay. No, I did not watch his fucking YouTube, man. I don't think it's real. I don't think it's him. Why are people getting so... I don't understand how people are so quick to be duped and immediately want to believe that he like actually fucking put forth a timed YouTube video that is going to announce, like, it could be him, but like, you do not have any information at this point. You do not have any information at this point that YouTube video is like real, okay? That it's actually him that timed a release for a YouTube page, especially because like the YouTube page PFP is just like him holding a McDonald's. We know that you know, his Twitter, we know his Goodreads, like those are confirmed. Okay? It's fake and the PFP changed? Yeah. This is fake. The account has since changed the profile picture. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be like a fucking crypto announcement or something, dude. Bro, I feel so sad at this news. What are the chances the police got it wrong? There's always a chance that the police got it wrong. Anyway. Luigi Mangione had the deny defend to post slogan in his bio on his TikTok. His account has been deleted, presumably by TikTok. This is what happens when even STEM milquetoast valedictorians have no upwards mobility fresh out of college. Wait, Matt? No, this isn't him, dude.
Hey, Mumsy. How you doing? Jake, go back. Change. No green jacket, no hood. This is serious now. A lot of people have been DMing me, messaging me. You have to go back and change. This is not funny. Are you listening to me? This is not a funny situation. Please listen to me. Jake. Oh my God! What? What don't you understand? Oh my God! Let him live. Crime. You need to go home and change.
It's not him, but it's funny because he does look like him a lot.
The person that it was done to did a lot worse, okay? To the entire country. I'm not negating that. To the entire country. I agree with you. However, there are 2 jackets in the back. Put one of them on. Jake, I'm going to not go where you want to go. I'm not driving you. Put the jacket on in the back now. Take that jacket off. You know what? What do you have against hoods? The jacket off. What do you have against hoods? Jake? There's only one type of hood I don't like, and it's a white one. Jake? Otherwise, I am very into the hood. I love a hooded shaft, if you will. Jake?
I feel like that was really mean of Chad to call me milquetoast. I'm concernedly close to this demo. This community, that's like the majority of the community is very close to that demographic. That is how you arrived at most likely leftist politics. The fuck do you mean? Many of you are people that went to and got a decent college education and recognize how shit the job market is and that you will never be able to retire. Anyway, here are some choice tweets from this man. This is why Jordan Peterson always bothers me. Overcomplicates everything he says aloud, wasting everyone's mental bandwidth and having to decipher it. The best teachers are the best communicators. Clear, succinct, simple language. I should have added some context with this clip. I wasn't trying to contradict you, but rather bolster your point. Tucker is spot on in recognizing that modern architecture kills the spirit, but his very first line, postmodern architecture is designed to demoralize and hurt you, paints the phenomenon as intentional. In the same way that inflation is not intelligently designed to oppress people, neither is modern architecture. It's emergent. Yes, it is oppressive, but that's a fallout of selective pressures to build fast, cheap, irrespective of aesthetics. My point here is that even when people have brilliant insights, they often blatantly get the causation wrong. Modern equivalent of this drought, famine, was caused by the rain gods. God damn, he's a yapper. Another TikTok.
Defund the police. Yeah.
Okay. I don't want meme TikToks right now. I want more info about him. If you guys have any more choice tweets from him that can help decipher his like political leanings or whatever, that would be helpful. Okay. Especially before they like ban his shit. because they're already the obvious thing that many social media companies do in a situation like this is just like to yeet these accounts, so you can't get a better understanding of where this person is coming from or what their background is, because people are afraid of like copycats and stuff. You know, I would like to figure out you know, I would like to figure out his background. So he founded a game dev club at UPenn, which UPenn apparently took down. Student club highlights interdisciplinary art of making video games. Undergraduate students Luigi Mangione and Josh Nadel led a group of 60 students who gather and collaborate weekly to develop video games at Huntsman Hall. As a high school student, Luigi Mangione's interest in video games didn't stop at playing them. He wanted to create them. Why does it matter what his political leanings were when he got radicalized? Is it really that useful? I'm more interested in what led to his radicalization, not shit he was liking when he was 12 years old. Wait, what are you talking about? That is my point. I think it creates a larger picture. There is definitely pure fascination. There is pure fascination as well. There is a bit of spectacle. Okay, but outside of that, it's you know, I'm just trying to create a clearer picture. But yeah, his entire Goodreads list, and some of these he, I assume, read. Some of these he did not or wanted to read, right? Yeah. 7 Habits of the Highly Effective People. On immunity and inoculation. Should we eat meat? Evolution and its consequences. How to lie with statistics. Oh my God. That one is a classic. What if? Serious scientific answers to absurd hypotheticals. The greatest show on earth. The evidence for evolution. The magic and reality. How we know what's really true. Richard Dawkins. Like, he had a bunch of Charles Darwin, The Origin of Species. It seemed like on his want to read list, he had a litany of different, like, there was a Mein Kampf, Adolf Hitler, want to read. Oh God. Why the fuck would you put that on your Goodreads? That's crazy. His most centrist brain dead lived up take. Current era is a mass extinction event for normies. Tradition existed for the average person's psychic protection, and without it, they'll reliably go crazy. In 500 years, humanity will be a much more extreme species with the middle of the bell curve completely eradicated. Have you seen the movie Idiocracy? It predicts the opposite of what you suggest. The overall dumbing down of humanity with the entire bell curve shifting left due to reproductive dynamics. It's obviously satire, but I've always worried that that's the direction we're heading. Wait, what? Oh, he's talking about the bell curve shifting left. Here's one of his tweets from earlier this year. What are your thoughts on this quote from J. Krishnamurti? It is no measure of good health to be well-adjusted to a profoundly sick society. Yeah, I mean, it is one of my choice. Takes as well. Those who feel a strong aversion to adjusting to a maladjusted society are normally deemed mentally ill, alcoholics, substance abusers, or slackers. They're corralled into 12-step groups or mental hospitals or placed on medication or even when shunned. All in an attempt to make them conform and fit in when what really needs to change is society itself. Just as gun legislation will not end the senseless mass shootings, because what we really need to do is stop generating psychopaths as a culture. I deduce he was a Jordan Peterson listener from his book list. No, he doesn't like Jordan Peterson. But yeah, he had his sister posted this on IG stories praying for you. Which, you know, respect. Same sis. I feel like this guy really fucked with Foucault. No, he did not. He is not. You guys, listen. I can't stress this enough, okay? This is a STEM guy whose introduction into like his introduction to the humanities is many of you in this community are very similar in profile to this person. Okay? A lot of you are comp sci and other like a variety of different STEM majors. Okay? But unlike him, yeah, most leftists don't like Foucault. We're not talking about Foucault anyway. Unlike him, many of you, instead of going the regular like Andrew Huberman, Lex Friedman, enlightened centrist, Jordan Peterson is a brilliant humanities professor route, or maybe you did actually go down that route at a certain point, came here because you realized like maybe these guys were not actually presenting reality in a way that is true. Maybe they were, not exactly well equipped. Okay. Tim Urban, the guy he wanted to be taught in school, is a huge anti-woke guy. Exactly. And it's ironic because Tim Urban has been fucking crying about this guy killing a CEO nonstop. So many of you went on your own intellectual journey and then arrived here. Okay. Many of you went on your own intellectual journey, but it seems to me like he is more so like a possible r/atheism, Richard Dawkins appreciator, guy who thinks Sam Altman is brilliant. Sam Altman is OpenAI, for those of you who don't know. Guy who thinks Peter Thiel is brilliant. Like he retweeted Peter Thiel. Like this is a person who went on his own intellectual journey and, just like many who succumb to the unlimited amount of extreme centrist, maybe center-right content out there, he found himself in the whims of these kinds of content creators. None of that actually played a role in his actions, though. None of that played even a little bit of a formative role in the actions that he took. It seems to me like, regardless of his political ideology or the way he presented himself online, this was a very direct, you can present a very direct through line from what happened in his past and the actions that he took. Like here, he is responding to Tim Urban. My book, What's Our Problem, is now available. The book introduced a new framework for thinking about our chaotic political environment. This is from February 21st, 2023. He responded to this a year later. Do you think one day this could be taught in school curricula? What would that take? Now, I find this very interesting because Tim Urban is also consistently been chirping about how ridiculous and violent this action was. We live amongst a good number of people who are no different than those who ordered thousands of beheadings during the French Revolution. They just don't currently have the power to do what they want. Tim Urban here, quote retweeting Taylor Lorenz, and people wonder why we want these executives dead. That is the irony here, is that his actions, the irony here is that while he was directly like a Tim Urban head, right? Many of those people that he actually took notes from, the anti-woke people, like all these like Lex Friedman types, they by design play a formative role in shifting your attention away from the real vectors of pain in contemporary American society. They play a very big role in trying to deflect that attention away unconditionally every step of the way to make you say, no, it is not the rich. It is not those who are at the head of these corporations that design society in a way where I am experiencing so many pressures. in the wealthiest nation on earth. Pressures like, healthcare, an industry that should not be for profit, and yet it is. It is actually your fellow man that is causing your suffering. You should be angry not at those who are in positions of power, but you should be you should not be angry at the systems that bind us, but instead you should be angry at those who are fucking annoying, or those who advocate for their own, for their own existence, those who want civil liberties, those who want equality. You should be angry at those people who have no power, right? Get mad at undocumented immigrants. Get mad at trans people. Get mad at those who advocate for trans people and undocumented immigrants. Not the CEOs. Not the corporate oligopoly that exists. And yet, it is obvious that in spite of all of that, chaos and the deliberate attempts to shift your priorities away, to shift your attention away from those who actually cause harm, especially when it comes to an issue that touches every single American in a meaningful way, okay? People go, nah, I know what happened here. And that's precisely what's going on with the story of Luigi Mangione. A person who, regardless of his podcast consumption and books that he's read, okay, a person who has consistently, routinely quote retweeted Tim Urban, a person who Tim Urban very clearly hates the actions that Luigi Mangione took. No matter what, he still went through an experience that was formative, that was radicalizing, and that caused him to get mad at a CEO in the for-profit healthcare system. Okay? Bro was crying at McDonald's watching Tim Urban shit all over him. Yeah, he was logging onto his Twitter account being like, another Tim Urban tweet has hit the timeline. Fuck, he hates me. All my icons, all my idols hate me. He's going to be really sad when he finds out all these people that he has hyped up despise him for the action that he took. I believe this book will go down in history as the most important philosophical text of the early 21st century. My belief is that he's a strict Darwinist who understands the physical and social homology between man and animals, that humans aren't uniquely distinct from all other species like that major religions suggest. He believes that modern society transgresses against our natural inclinations / needs as animals ourselves, and that led to the destruction of our way of living and purpose, closest to Kaczynski. I don't know if he has a well-defined framework like the way you're suggesting. I don't. I think he's a guy who, much like many others in that same age group, had the exact same societal pressures, and the exact same fears and the exact same vulnerabilities. And there's one philosophic work on his Goodreads. I doubt he's actually read anything himself. Wiki pages, maybe. Yeah, I think. I don't think that he was he had this well-defined framework or well-defined worldview. I think he was trying to find himself, just like many others do in the same age range, experiencing the societal pressures of venturing into the adult world, losing his coverage on his health care, and obviously going through this traumatic experience where he had to get healthcare, most likely had his claims denied, or went through this process that personally radicalized him. And the actions that he took had nothing to do with all the Tim Urban books that he's read. Okay? You know what's really cute? Because this guy's profile pretty closely matches chats, everyone is just projecting their ideological engines onto this guy. Yeah. Reminds me of Ryan Ruth, the Trump golf course guy who clearly had contradictory views in politics. A man who wants to be freed from something that is so frustrating, but has no clue what that thing really is, capitalism. They end up with weird, muddied anti-politics. There's millions like that, and they don't really know what they are or what they believe in, but come very close. Exactly. Intelligent with another banger. Oh, Saul Baba. Hold on. Yeah, this was the best take I've seen on this ideology as well. Yanında beyazın olması lazım. Evet. Oops. I do not care if Luigi Mangione, assuming this is really the guy, shares my personal ideological outlook. His alleged actions were propelled by the material conditions of capitalism and can be used to advance class consciousness or struggle. Bir dakika geliyorum baba, bir saniye. No, I got it. Yapma. Yedi o. So yeah, that's important to address here. Okay. Getting back to the CNN coverage.
For several days. But when you look at all of that material with him on his person, whenever he is actually taken into custody, someone who had the wherewithal to plan all of this and then to escape several law enforcement agencies would have had to have known that having all of that on his person would implicate him in this crime. As you mentioned, you have the fake ID, an ID that was matching the fake ID he used to check into that hostel. You have the mask that he had that was on these images that have been seen now around the world, and specifically the firearm itself. All of those items could have been ditched along the way as he was trying to escape, but he had them on his person. Of course, we can get into the firearms forensics if you'd like to see how how that would actually play a key role here. But when you look finally at the manifesto, that you have to raise the question: is this someone who expected to be caught and didn't mind being caught eventually? Particularly if he is someone who was railing against the industry in which this murder victim had worked, to have all that material on you and then to have essentially the motive, laying out the motive in these documents for police to find. Everyone, any good attorney will tell you that the best way to escape any type of serious charge such as murder is to create reasonable doubt, to have no evidence on your person, to try to fight every accusation that comes your way. That much harder when you have all of that with you as you're taken into custody.
Yeah, certainly an intriguing point why he would have that kind of note on him. It speaks to some form of premeditation, at least. Josh Campbell, thank you for that. We also have with us Michael Alcazar, a retired NYPD detective. And on Friday, you talked about how critical DNA evidence would be not necessarily in identifying a suspect, but tying them to the crime. And in hearing about some of these details, specifically about the water bottle that was left behind and a partial fingerprint that was on that water bottle, I'm curious how significant a piece of evidence would that be in a future prosecution?
Yeah, this is absolutely huge that we have this suspect and then we process the crime scene, as best to the ability of the NYPD. We got DNA, we got fingerprints, we have the ammunition. So now hopefully we can link all that to this suspect. We are going to get DNA from him, get fingerprints off of him. The weapon, like the other person mentioned before, we can link it to the bullets because usually the barrel will have rifling. I know this is a ghost gun. Hopefully it still produces the same marks on the ammunition. So crime scene processing, the images that we put out, the Crime Stoppers tips, that's what helped solve this crime and make this arrest.
And John Miller, back to you. We're talking about why does he have all of this potential evidence on him, so much of it, but I guess there's also a question of what was the intent of the letter. In some crimes, you have people who send in their manifesto with the expectation they may or may not get caught. Do you have an idea, perhaps, what the intent could be, looking at cases like that?
Brianna, that's a really important question, and here's why. You know, when you look at the note, I do apologize for any strife or trauma, but it had to be done. These parasites had it coming. This is a single homicide we're looking at. Parasites is in the plural. And the note itself, where he says, I acted alone, I'm self-funded, it suggests two potential things here. Number one, he was expecting to be caught somehow, somewhere, and wanted the note to say, I acted alone, this was just me, and here's the why. Or the other, even darker possibility, which is he intended to keep striking and at some point was going to release this note after he killed executives from other healthcare companies or other major corporations. We've looked at some of his other writings going back to the past on his social media and things he's posted, and he does rail against corporate America, against profiteering, against taking advantage of the consumer, and he does talk about how protest is ineffective and that violence is the next step that has to be taken. So a lot to kind of chew on there while they put together the charges, as Shimon said. And
I love the CNN coverage on this because, one, they spent most of this time glazing the cops, even though they did virtually nothing, okay? And then immediately after that, they are presenting him as this, like, ideological anarchist or something. Like it's not the case at all. I mean, look, I don't give a shit even if he was, right, one way or another, but like it's obvious that he is not like that at all. Like the dude was fucking constantly quote retweeting Tim Urban and you know, glazing fucking Sam Altman and Peter Thiel and shit. I don't think he was like this anti-corporatist hero, okay? The news in Australia called him an anti-capitalist shooter. I mean, his act was inherently anti-capitalist, but I don't think he was ideologically anti-capitalist. That's my point. His Goodreads must read or want to read books is not indicative of anything, in my opinion. So I don't know how the fuck CNN can get away with just like openly stating this, yeah, when it's very clearly not the case.
Others get together the physical and forensic evidence that may tie him to this New York murder.
Josh Campbell, back to you, because Michael brought up something I found interesting. Obviously, in a lot of cases, forensic experts will look at a firearm and doing an analysis of the sort of grooves that are on the bullet, the impression that is left on a bullet, and it helps to tie, obviously, guns to certain incidents. I wonder how that might change, given that this is a ghost gun that officials believe was potentially printed by a 3D printer.
Well, so the ghost gun aspect would make it more difficult to try to tie it to past crimes. And we know that the bullet shell casings obviously recovered from the scene of the crime. That could be tested. The fact that we didn't hear of any matches to past crimes tells us that, you know, this is something that he may have, you know, procured maybe recently. Maybe he put it together himself. And maybe he's never used it before in the commission of a crime that was known to law enforcement. But it is still a critical piece of evidence because, as you mentioned, when you look at firearm testing, it's very much like a fingerprint. Whenever a projectile leaves the end of that gun, there are unique markings. You can see here, these are images of when I went inside the ATF lab to show this kind of testing. So they would take this gun into one of these facilities. They actually do a test to capture the bullet that is fired, but also the shell casing that gets ejected. And then they essentially take it under a microscope and actually look for those unique patterns. Whenever the shell casing makes contact with that gun, there are unique markings that law enforcement can look at. And what they're trying to do is see, is there a match? When you look at the shell casings found at the scene, you look at those bullets and you compare that with what was tested, all they're trying to do here is to match, was the gun found on this individual actually similar in nature to the characteristics of the rounds of ammunition left behind at the scene? And because of the unique nature of that testing, as I mentioned, somewhat like a fingerprint, that could be very strong evidence.
Daniel Penny, the former Marine charged in the chokehold.
As of now, from what I understand, we're not going to do Daniel Penny yet, but he has his first court appearance and he's in custody. It is going to be in 30 minutes and people are waiting. This was an essay that he wrote when he was 14. He believed that Christianity was what allowed the poor to be oppressed, Roman lower class to cope with their existence, and it was eventually allowed Christianity to replace paganism as the primary religion of Rome. Yeah, I don't care what he wrote it when he was 14. Did you say he reposted this? Yeah. Police revealed that finding the 26-year-old was a complete surprise, and they did not have his name on a list of suspects prior to today. Spoke with a source from Barstool Sports, doing the journalism here. Spoke with a source that had a lot of friends that went to high school with Luigi Mangione. What keeps coming back is back surgery that changed everything for him, and he went absolutely crazy. Check out his Goodreads history and the x-ray in his header. He had a back injury when he was serving in Hawaii. Surgery didn't go great. Moved to Japan. His contact with his family stopped about a year ago. Recently, family reached out to his friends from high school asking if they had info on him. So he's been pretty aloof for a while. Wait, he moved to Japan? That's why he had those like weird ass... Utilitarian ethics versus virtue ethics. Utilitarian, the action is good if the consequences are good. Virtue, the action is good if it's what a virtuous person would do. Poll results indicate respondents' moral frameworks. Homicide, worst consequence. Rape, worst virtues. He was... Maybe he saw the Shinzo Abe assassination and his life changed. This is the guy from this picture in Japan. Bro wants to help get him arrested, though. I've been informed that the person in my previous post may be the suspect of the murder. I live in Japan and was having a fun meal with a friend at a restaurant in Tokyo that day. He came in by himself while we talked to him and treated him to a meal and drinks because we want him to enjoy Japan. He said he was on vacation from Hawaii. We ate together for about 30 minutes before parting ways, so I have no idea what kind of person he is, let alone his contact information. However, all I know that he was in Japan that day, and I will do my best to help him get arrested if I can. I would also like to express my deepest condolences to Mr. Thompson. What the fuck? God damn it.
Oh,
L snitch. Not a W, chat.
Penn State.
These guys are waiting for him to be perp
Hail
walked.
to the pit. No, that's Pitt. What? Ryan, question for you. Hail to Pitt. That's Pitt. Yeah, that's Pitt. What's Penn? I don't know. Ask him. I don't know. I didn't go to Penn State. I was going to. I never did. I was like, nope. Yeah, what is the Penn State slogan?
It's the We Are.
Oh, that's right. We are Penn State. Yeah. Yeah, bud. 43. Looking good. Thank you. Yep. Yeah, NBC
Fox
is
on what's
that
next?
camera right there. That's NBC, guys.
Like the clown stuff was going on.
Oh.
They had Penn State on the hunt for the clown.
Retired NYPD inspector and a Fox News contributor, and James R. Fitzgerald, retired FBI supervisory special agent and co-host.
These guys are... Fox News always gets the funniest, like, former detectives and shit on. I love those guys.
The Cold Red podcast. Great to have both of you with us today. Paul, let me start with you. Your thoughts on the latest developments in this case?
Well, let me say two things. First of all, kudos to that citizen who, off of that photo, which was not great, an above photo, that's always the case with these surveillance photos from video, remote video. They're at an angle where you don't get great shots. Off of that shot, this person looked at this person and said, you know what, this individual looks like who everybody's looking for. And when you couple that with the fact that the reporting was he's supposed to be in Atlanta, the fact that this person in Altoona made him is fairly amazing. The other thing I would just mention real quickly is, okay, that part is down, assuming this is him, and it's looking pretty good. But now something else begins, and there's the prosecution, there's the investigation, there's the discovery. The discovery laws in New York City these days, in New York State, are draconian on the prosecution. They got to gather a ton of stuff. You have the out-of-state issues here. They're going to have to gather all that. You got the extradition. So now it's another battle, and that's what the police are going to be concentrating on now as they go forward.
I like that he used draconian when talking about all the sentencing, all the guidelines that play a role in the prosecution. Oh man, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that fucking cops have to literally abide by certain standards before taking away someone's freedom. He's like, you know what sucks? Due process. I hate it. As a former cop, I hate it. I think you should be able to arrest people all the time for no reason.
Forward.
James Fitzgerald, let me bring you in, former FBI profiler. We are learning some bits and pieces about the person who is the suspect in this case. That is his status at this point. There are other outlets, including the New York Post, which is...
He didn't say that. He did. He said that the process for the prosecution here is draconian. As in, it is the standards that you need to abide by in order to take away a person's freedom, because that's what the prosecutor does, is the standards are too high, is draconian, is too rigorous.
Our sister publication that is saying that he was a valedictorian at his high school, a private boys' school in the Baltimore area. Your thoughts on the profile of this young man?
Well, it's only a profile when it's an unknown subject. Once we have someone identified, now they're going to be doing a behavioral assessment. If the shooter has been deceased himself, they'd call it a psychological autopsy. But now they're going to do this behavioral assessment, this psychological assessment of just what made this person tick, what made him as mission-oriented as he was to have devoted 10 days, probably more, directly involved in the killing of Mr. Thompson of United Healthcare.
He was goal-oriented. That is
they're
true.
Going to try to find everything going back to his prep school days, his valedictorian days, any type of social media he was involved in. Certainly the web searches he's conducted, and that's going to put a total picture of this person together. And this will be evidentiary that can be entered into, a trial at some point. Defense will always fight these things, but these types of issues that
he means Lolo
suggest motivation and rationale.
Hopefully,
for
fingers
doing
crossed,
this, would certainly be important. Doesn't surprise me either that this guy was somehow a fan of the Unabomber Ted Kaczynski, and he.
There is very little chance that this person is a Hasanabi head. Not at all. He strikes me as a person who was on their own intellectual journey that would have put him directly at odds with the way I see the world. If anything, he'd say stuff like, "Oh, this guy is out of his depth, out of his element." He's more so Lex Friedman enjoyer, probably closer to a Diddy G fan than myself. As much as I would not mind that association, ultimately, I don't believe that this person was coming from this background.
He has his mini manifesto of 3 pages. We'll see if there's as much evidence in there as there was in the 56-page manifesto of the Unabomber. But I'm sure there'll be valuable evidence they can use against him in a court of law.
Yeah. Paul, what strikes me is, when I saw his face, and you can see it more clearly if we have the picture of him smiling at the woman who was, there he is, big smile on his face.
Yeah, it was a
and
Riz Lord.
I thought when I saw this picture, Paul, that he's a young man, he's smiling in this photo. I thought anyone in his family they know that that's him as soon as they see this photo. He went to, if these reports are correct, a prestigious prep school, you know, that's all over social media. All of those people, his professors, they also, if they saw this picture, Paul, had to have been able to identify this young man. Do we know whether or not the investigators on this case had been reached out to by people who said, you know, that's him? They couldn't tell where he was at that point, but they identified him.
Nope. Nope.
Yeah, I mean, I have not heard that. That doesn't appear to be public. One of the things I would go back to relative to that question is the Boston Marathon bombing with the Tsarnaev.
Nope. We do know. They didn't, which means they probably recognized those fucking eyebrows from a mile away, and we're like, nope, I'm not saying shit, dog. That's not my Pookie, okay? That right there is not my Luigi, okay? Ain't no fucking way, big dog. And it's not Penn State, it's Penn. It's UPenn, chat. Important distinction. He did not go to Penn State. He went to University of Pennsylvania. It's an Ivy League school. You know who else went to University of Pennsylvania? Donald Trump. Also, Uncle Shaky Gurga. He went to UPenn.
Brothers, we had a similar circumstance.
Exactly.
4 days where we were killing ourselves looking all.
By the way, he's not talking about the cops and prosecution standards. He's talking about the newly reformed discovery laws in New York being draconian, which are very strict and put the prosecution on a clock to turn over everything in discovery. If they don't do so, the case will be dismissed. This is a very good thing. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad.
All over social media for who they were. And then we find out later, all his dorm mates knew that Joe Tsarnaev was probably that guy, but they couldn't believe it of him. Yeah. And everybody was afraid to accuse erroneously. So there is a little bit of a downward pressure on it. But I will say this. Think about the needle in a haystack work the PD did here. This guy comes into the city. He had a lot of planning. Apparently, according to some reporting that's out, he locked down his electronics. They're going to have a hard time getting into his phone, et cetera. But he took all these precautions. He came in. Apparently, he's surveilled. And yet they found him within a couple of days at that youth hostel, got that photo. That really is what broke this.
Yes.
So kudos to them. Kudos to this woman at the McDonald's. And kudos to the Altoona PD who went out.
Bro, stop saying kudos. I'm losing my fucking mind. Yeah, his court appearance is coming up, chat. Don't worry.
Out and took the call seriously. That would have been a very easy call to be a little dismissive of. They took her seriously. They went out. They eyeballed him. You know, they see the eyebrows, which it's almost like, you know, Koberger, the accused in Idaho. The eyebrows here are distinctive. And they put it together.
Yeah, no, it's extraordinary. We knew that he took a bus out of Upper Manhattan and that it stopped a number of places along the way, that the route was headed to Atlanta. So there was a big effort in Atlanta, but we also knew that it was making certain stops along the way. And apparently he got off in Pennsylvania if all of this police work adds up. So, gentlemen, thank you very much. James Fitzgerald, Paul Morrow.
He retweeted this a couple years ago. Okay, dude. Shooter's dad was denied cancer treatment for the second time, allegedly. There's a GoFundMe page about that. I don't trust any of that stuff yet. Okay, this is one of those moments where you have to wait for verification to come from traditional outlets. A lot of people in this day and age on the internet will move and you know, create their own little fake YouTube profiles or GoFundMes and the like. In an effort to basically, you know, get clout or some shit like that. So you have to look at, like, you have to try to figure out if this is like verifiably him. You know, the profiles are. Blood was a debate lord? I think so. I mean, he was a model UN. He fits that profile really well. Bro, he did retweet it? Lol, why'd you close it? What? Because I don't care. What the fuck? Oh, he retweeted this. Okay, who gives a shit? It's like a fucking Twitter meme from 2022. This is like, That's the reason why I closed it, because it's not the fucking major discovery that you think it is, chatter. No disrespect. Like, I know you guys are trying to help out here, but it's a fucking trolley problem joke. I know the court, the court appearance is going to happen soon. Do you think he has chat logs? No, I don't think that he was like a Twitter guy. I don't think he was a Twitch guy. I think he was a YouTube guy. Through and through. Anyway. This is another thing that he apparently retweeted. Is what someone was saying, but I don't know if this is true or not. I can't I can't verify it. So yeah, he reads YouTube all the way. No way you get that many right-wing pundits by being on Twitch. Yeah. Probably hard in the Telegram network. Hella far right groups on there. No, dude. I don't think this person was involved in Telegram groups or like deep in the precipice of right-wing radicalization. Like, he's not like some fucking sweaty 4chan loser. I think he was way more normie. A lot of his interests and a lot of his follows and retweets indicate that he was closer to a normie. Daily Mail at it again. Oh no, what do they do this time? Why are they doing this? Why does that dude? The Daily Mail loves this fucking killer, dude. The way that they keep posting these fucking hilarious. The Daily Mail TikTok is incredible. He's in the alt-centrist to techno-fascist pipeline. I agree. I agree with this assessment, Central Committee. I see that. Well-educated, maybe not like, not the fully fleshed out, maybe not necessarily like a fully fleshed out worldview. But ultimately, it doesn't matter. Like, what he did, the actions he took have nothing to do with like his political ideology, in my opinion. Yeah, and Jared Holt is right. He's a fantastic researcher of right-wing extremism online. He says, at the end of the day, here's the thing about Luigi Mangioni's online footprint. It cuts off 6 months ago. That means no one has any idea what he was up to or the catalyst that finally got him to the point of killing someone. Anyone who claims otherwise is lost in the sauce. The police say they found a manifesto on him when they arrested him that is likely going to tell us much more than the social media profile ever will. Yeah. So, like, while we can basically create a profile for his point of radicalization leading up to his actual point of radicalization, we do not know what events took place, with the exception of like speculating on the spine surgery that he most likely got. That's it. The last quote he liked on Goodreads. Bro had enough. Unless someone who, like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. Yeah. We don't even know if he's qualifying his event, is what you're saying? Yes, we're speculating on that, but it's like, I guess we'll see if he suddenly became an insurrectionary anarchist doing propaganda of the deed. Yeah. I doubt it, but it doesn't have to be that anyway. I don't know why people are just like, I don't know why people are doing purity spirals on the fucking healthcare CEO shooter. Like, who gives a shit? Apparently his Twitch is Pepe Mangione. Check his logs. No, it's not. Where did you get that from? The account is gone anyway. It's either nuked or never existed. Yeah, a Twitch account was created 3 hours ago. If people start linking it, nice. Classic. Anyway, I'm not doing a purity spiral, just trying to figure him out, Lamau. Yeah, I agree. No, but people are trying to present him as like, people are basically trying to present him as like a guy who had their worldview, a guy who had the same exact worldview as them, and that's why they did it. And for the reason, and the reason for why they're doing that, is specifically because like they agree with the act. So they're trying to slot him into a comfortable political background that makes sense, when that's not how the average American political operative works. You know? Family and personal healthcare involvement. What, calling him a fascist is extremely dumb. Like, why just assume that? Why can't a person be disgruntled with the system and act exact revenge? No, Michael from Pennsylvania is not saying he's a techno-fascist. He's saying that he was on the center-right techno-fascist pipeline, which I don't disagree with necessarily, because like when you got Palantir and you know Sam Altman. Okay, when you got, guys, stop fucking linking accounts that were created today. Are you that fucking stupid? Like, really? I guess the answer is yes. You are that stupid. You literally think that on his way in the McDonald's that he got popped at, he created an account a couple hours ago in the fucking car ride. Okay, in the car ride over to the New York Public Courthouse. You know, he made a new account.